say you promised your wife something. Go, hey, I know I promised this, but I need to modify that, right? You do it one time.
Restate it.
Restate it. You know, I promised I'm gonna take you to Cancun for your birthday. Birthday's getting close. Hey,
how about
I have
Pismo
a business...
Beach?
No, like I've got this very important business trip coming up. I'm really sorry, but you know, can we defer it, or I'll take you to Pismo Beach instead. The first time your wife's gonna be like, all right, no big deal, right? It's not that big a thing. The second time you do that, she's gonna be like, that kind of sucks, but I get it. All right, you look, you know, you have an important meeting. All right. The third time you do it, what's the reaction gonna be?
Yeah, it's over
right?
with. Yeah.
And then the fourth time
you know what? The first time I do it, it was over with my wife. Okay, so let's be honest. This is Industry Relations, a podcast at the intersection of real estate and technology from an insider's perspective. Sponsored by Cotality. Stay tuned to learn more with Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Industry Relations with Rob and Greg. This is your host, the notorious Rob, and as always, my fabulous co-host, fabulous Greg Robertson. I used the word fabulous twice.
Yes, that's right.
Hola.
Hola, Rob.
Because that's that fabulous.
Fabulous squared. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
I have to change my Twitter handle now.
Anyway, so we're kind of recording this as kind of an emergency, so hopefully all the tech will work and all of that.
Yeah.
Because for a retired man, you sure are a lot of airplanes.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's funny because it's like my wife doesn't even like care really much anymore. It's like, oh, okay, see you Monday.
Yeah.
It's like,
have you ever, you know, has it ever? Well, I guess you have.
It probably helps the relationship. Yeah.
And you still have like young children at home, so.
Well, I've got a 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, those 16-year-olds, I mean, they're old enough to take care of themselves for a month, don't you think?
A month? I don't know about that.
I'm just saying, like, you know.
If they wanted to use DoorDash, of course, yeah. But I mean,
they don't know how to cook.
Oh yeah, Hope knows how to cook. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I'm just saying, the two of you could just go on a 30-day around the world trip.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know about that.
Like what retired people are supposed to do.
But bring my kids with me.
Hey, that wouldn't be bad. Just pull them out of school for a year and just, you know, what would be better?
My mom did that with me and my sister once. We traveled all the way through Mexico and came back up in a van.
Isn't that an amazing experience? That's what I think.
Oh yeah, we left my sister at the border of Guatemala, I think, and then we had to circle back. So it was traumatizing.
I mean, you could have made her, you know, walk. In any event, so I think we thought we should cover the Zillow follow-up bus kerfuffle.
Is this a podcast about EULAs now? Is that what we're going to? Rob?
It's not EULA. It's privacy policy. It's
okay.
Even more boring.
Okay,
in a sense.
All right, let's get out your magnifying glasses, everybody.
I mean, all right. So, you know, I did write at length because that's one of my specialties, right? I read these documents so you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
So I did do it.
Can I just throw a shout out to you that I love the fact that I know where you're going, right?
Yeah.
But you are a good enough author and writer to give me the you don't bury the lead, as you said there. You listen, if it's too long to read, here's my main points.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people appreciate that. And then like you're geeks like me, you want to go way into it.
Right.
But I just, let me just thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to start doing that more, I think. But that one in particular, because I'm like, I don't want to make people wade through thousands of words, to just get to the, the main point. So since you did read it, I guess I'll just ask, you know what, maybe for the sake of people who probably haven't read it, I'll just kind of state kind of the top line, the lead,
exactly.
Right? And then maybe have you react to that. So basically my top line was that the new privacy policy. So for anyone who's been under a rock, because obviously like way bigger podcasts like Tom Ferry and Bam have already talked about this. Yeah. In case you've been under a rock, Follow Up Boss changed its privacy policy.
That Follow Up Boss was a huge CRM product product that was acquired by Zillow
That's right.
a couple years ago, right?
That's right. Okay, and when it was going to come into it, but when they did, one of the big things that both Zillow and Follow Up Boss said, don't worry, your data is going to be safe, nothing changes, etc. Well, here we are, it's changing. They changed it. So the first thing I'll say is that the new policy does, in fact, give Follow Up Boss and Zillow both huge amounts of personal data that they previously did not have the right to.
Right.
I think Zillow is likely using all this data to improve Follow Up Boss, right? To maybe train AI, maybe improve some other products
100%.
across its suite of companies and products. But there's no malicious intent here. There's nothing nefarious going on, right? Like Zillow is not looking to steal anyone's clients. They're not about to market to people's clients. They're not going to do those things. It's very, it's non-nefarious is my takeaway. I haven't spoken to anyone over there, but you know those guys, I know those guys, and logic dictates they're probably not looking to screw over,
Well,
Follow Up Boss users.
as of October 30th, 2025, right? Because their business does not involve that.
Correct.
But
But that's part of the problem. So that was my thing. I've also noted that agents and brokers tend to be especially paranoid when it comes to any sort of client information.
Well, and they're paranoid. Let's be honest about Zillow, right?
They're paranoid by Zillow too, but I was saying, like just as a general matter, agents and brokers are very paranoid about any sort of client info, and there's nothing more sacred, if you will, than the CRM, because that's where you would enter what you know about the client.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Let's be honest. The whole third-party CRM industry, the CRM industry has been, a lot of it's been based upon don't use your broker's CRM, the one they give you, because you want to keep that data yourself, not to them, right?
Exactly.
So that has been the blaming of low adoption of broker purchase products.
I wrote that up. Right. Yeah. So that was the fourth point. Fifth, I think, despite the fact that this is probably very innocent, I think this is a really big unforced error on the part of Zillow on a couple of levels. And there is the final one, which I think is probably the most important, is that I think this actually is potentially a strategic problem for Zillow, right? Because now what we have is, I believe this is the fourth time that Zillow has had to go, I'll call it like revising a promise. You could call it breaking a promise. I don't think they broke a promise. It's not like they ever went, promised one thing and then did something else. What they did is they make a promise and they come back a few years later and say, hey, we told you this back then, but things have changed and now we have to change, the terms.
Yeah, I don't know if you call that a broken promise or not. But
I call it revising the promise.
Okay,
Right?
All right. So try that. Everybody out who's listening, try that with your wife one time. Is saying, I'm not breaking this promise, sweetheart. I'm revising it, and see how that works with her. Okay.
Exactly. So that's my point. I feel like, look, there's nothing. I don't think. Now, look, someone could come up with some evidence, right? Some internal email Zillow. Hey, look, we're gonna do this follow-up bust so we could steal other clients. Like, fine. But in the absence of like a smoking gun, I'm just gonna assume that there's nothing nefarious going on here, right? Like, I don't think Zillow's looking to mine people's client data so they could get in touch with them, and I just don't see that. Right? What I theorized essentially was, I think they're using this data in order to make the AI better, so that maybe Follow Up Boss would have like cool new features, like have your AI get in touch. You know what I mean? Like, and the AI knows like how you write emails. Like you and I talked about AI, about our writing.
Yeah.
I don't use it, but I know that like I could train an AI to sound like me, right? So maybe that's what this is. They're just trying to train the AI to sound more like the agent, so that when the AI sends out an email or a text or whatever, it sounds like the agent, right? Who knows? And maybe they'll charge a premium. I mean, it just makes Follow Up Boss like a better product, and they would then get market share. They would keep the clients that they have. So I don't think there's anything nefarious, but I still think this is a big problem. It's a big error by Zillow, and now I think it's potentially a strategic problem. All right, done. Your reaction, sir.
Yes. So let me clarify something from you. Like, you say this is an error, right? What was the error? Like, I've read your piece, and like, part of it seems to go back to they didn't market this correctly, or what was the error here?
I don't think there's enough communication. I don't think there's anything done proactively enough. If you think about how this came about, as far as I understand, the follow-up boss sent out a notice saying, hey, as of November 15th, we're changing our privacy policy.
Right.
And here's the draft of the privacy policy.
Sounds familiar. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Familiar, like how?
Well, to another EULA privacy policy thing that happened, right? Yeah.
Oh,
recently.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like, now here's the thing. I can't think of anything more boring, less important than privacy policy.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to get to the root. Are you saying, again, like you were talking about the CRMLS thing, is that you don't think CRMLS, in this case Zillow, did a good enough job communicating what it was about, right? So
in advance.
So this didn't meet Rob Hahn's threshold of good marketing or good disclosure.
I guess if you don't put it that way, I don't know whose standard of good communication this would have met.
Right.
So that's that. So in other words, like, you just think this is fine. I don't.
I'm not saying. Right. I just want to understand where the error is, and the error.
So
I guess is it because the error could be. This is why I want to clarify. Are you saying the error is that they're using this data? Is that the error?
No.
Okay,
that's not the error.
It's the communication.
It's the communication,
okay,
or really the lack thereof. Right.
So, well, it wasn't lack. I mean, there was a communication. That's why we're fucking talking here.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a lack thereof.
We are talking about it now because it came out, right? Because of a communication they sent out. So it just didn't meet the Rob Hahn level of Marcom best practices.
It didn't meet Zillow's own standards, if you will, because one of the things I wrote about was, remember when Zillow became a brokerage?
Yeah.
Back in 2019, right? And said, hey, we're going to start using IDX, we're going to join the MLS, we're going to become realtors, all of that. Think about the communication effort and outreach they did at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, did they reach out to you?
They probably did, yes.
I'm sure they did, because they reached out to me. They reached out to a whole bunch of people. They got a hold of Inman and all these people. And my understanding, again, I spoke to some of the people who worked at Zillow back in that time. The industry relations team made phone calls to every major brokerage leader, right? Here's what's happening. Here's what we're going to announce. Want you to know, all of that stuff, right? So when that news dropped, yes, people were like, "Rah!" Right? But you didn't have Tom Ferry going on and making a giant YouTube video.
Right.
You didn't have Jared fucking James.
No, okay.
You just did.
Again, I wanted to qualify what.
Right.
Okay, so let's get into this, right? So
the error, to me, is I think someone at Zillow should have done two things. One, they should have someone's job, I think, should have been to read the privacy policy and realize that the phrase mutual customer is going to be a problem for real estate agents. That's error number one. And I don't know if that's because it's probably Zillow Legal who wrote it. Right, so maybe Zillow Legal needs a lawyer who really understands agent mindset. Maybe it's Marcom. But what I don't know is, did Zillow Legal take this thing, send it over to communications or to industry relations? Because I don't think Errol Samuelson, for example, would have seen that phrase and been like, that's good. I just don't believe that. I think he would have been like, no, you can't use this language, right? You cannot use the phrase mutual customer with a real estate agent. You just can't do that. So that's error number one. But error number two, like I said, is given that Zillow specifically had the dotloop issue in the past, that the ShowingTime issue, I think if anyone should have known, hey guys, if we're changing privacy policy, this needs to be elevated, to some sort of advance. We need to prep the groundwork here a little bit, right? Call Tom Ferry, call Jared James, call Robin Gregg, call Keith, and you know what I mean? Call the bigger outlets, call Inman, explain here's what's changing and here's why it's changing. There's nothing bad going on. Nobody freak out. They didn't do that. So that to me are the two unforced errors. Okay.
Yeah, you done?
I'm done.
Okay. So, so I mean, there's some a couple issues in this thing, right? So I think this is a bigger deal than they thought it was, and only because you're right. When they bought dotloop, we're not going to do anything with the data. Don't worry. There's a big outcry. When they bought ShowingTime, we're not going to use this data for anything else, right? And then when they bought Follow Bus, we're not going to use this data. This is the first time now they're saying we are using the data. I would go, and I bet you if we look back at, I would want to go back and ask them directly. I would. Hey, is dotloop data being used in the same way? Is ShowingTime data? I bet you 100% it is. Right.
Yes.
Now, okay, so let's talk about it. So I think it is a bigger deal than that. Why it didn't kind of reach the level of, like you were saying. So if I think about the structure of Zillow, they have an industry relations team that's really mostly focuses on the MLSs, some broker type of thing. There's not really an industry relations to the agent products yet, right? There's not really somebody that kind of, they're not, I don't know if Wes Wiggins or, some of the guys over there are really like up to speed about all the different things about like what, those products are doing, right? So, and like it doesn't, the MLS is who they primarily interact with, because the data issues that we've been dealing with previously are having to do with listing data, not customer data, right? Mm-hmm. Or it is customer data, but it's related to a listing, like a showing or a transaction. This is way different, because this is just customer data in a CRM. So I think that's probably where the kind of breakage happened. It's like, I don't think they had that kind of thing in their head of like, oh, well, they have a team to do all this other stuff. So I think it's probably an unforced error where maybe they should have thought about that, because it wasn't really, again, who's in charge of, I couldn't tell you who's in charge of agent products to make sure that the agent stuff, non-MLS is out there. I don't think they have anybody to do that. So I think they have to look at their structure, and there's got to be somebody or some team or something in the future that is going to look into that, right? And secondly, I would, now here's the other thing. This, if this is the way it is saying now, this is going to, I think, raise the cackles of the MLS community going, okay, what's going on here? Because now, if they're saying that for just this, if I'm an MLS exec, I'd be calling my industry relationship rep from Zillow and says, are you saying now that ShowingTime data and customer data is being used to train your AI? Are you saying now that dotloop, with their broker clients and everything like that, are you saying that now? So I would probably, that's what I would look into it. Now, having said all of that, right? Because they clarify things. It's like a mutual customer, right? Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of buyers out there that are talking to multiple agents. That's a fact of life, right? You just have to be the agent that they choose, right? So at the end of the day, I don't think this is a big whoop in a way of like on a business level. Everybody's competing, right? As far as a nefarious thing, the thing that I don't like about this is that they always pivot in some way. Right? So now, before you were saying, okay, we're not touching the data, and that way you knew if they pivot, they didn't have it. Now, if they pivot and they go, remember you had like the different options that how Zillow could respond to some of this CCP stuff. Yeah. And one of the options, what'd you say? They become a franchise.
Right.
Right? If Zillow goes for that option, your kind of black swan option, well, shit, man. Now it's a problem. Right, because they've already said we're using all this data, right? So I'm more worried about like the next pivot Zillow does and say, well, screw it, we're just going to become a real broker and start doing transactions ourselves. Right. And they've had all these different relationships and things there. Right. So this is a bright line they've crossed for sure. As far as being transparent about it, they probably should have thought of this, but I don't think they had the structure. It's just a little bit outside of the way they kind of communicate to the industry than they had in the past with our industry relations team. But at the same time, it's like if I'm an agent and this is happening, it's like, yeah, and I'm certain that the buyers I'm working with, the sellers I'm working with, I don't own them. I'm sure they're talking to multiple agents all the time, and this is just another way they have to differentiate themselves.
So I mean, I think the second half, the point that you make is the real substance. But I do want to kind of challenge this, like, because industry relations tends to be brokerage and MLS focused.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Like I said, I think if Zillow Legal took this privacy policy and sent it over to Errol, sent it over to any of the numerous people you and I know on the industry relations team, right? Zach Shabbat, Wes Wiggins.
Yeah.
And they looked at the term mutual customer. I don't think any of them would have been like, oh yeah, that's fine. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to have been like a real estate agent to know that the phrase mutual customer is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I don't think it. I don't even think it's as granular as that. It's just saying, we are going to access your customer data.
Right.
That in itself, you don't have to even get into mutual, non-mutual, whatever, right?
But my point is that we're going to access your customer data. Like I said, I think it came from like a good place, right? Now we're gonna tackle the if Zillow pivots again, because that to me is a strategic issue. I don't know. Here's what I imagine happened. Okay, this is just I haven't talked to anyone there. Like this is what I think happened. I bet probably a year ago, 2 years ago, Zillow said AI needs to be central to our tech strategy. Like every company in America, right?
Right.
Like every company in America is like, AI is going to be central to our strategy. Open Door said it recently. So the product teams like at every division is, okay, well, how can we make AI central to our strategy? I'm guessing that the follow-up boss, the follow-up boss tech engineering team said, hey, what if we used AI so that the communication from the AI sounds more natural, more like the agent? So, that's a great idea. That would be an amazing feature, right? We could charge more for that. All right. So they go and build this thing. And then they go to legal and say, hey, in order to do this, what do we need to change? Legal is, well, we just have to modify the privacy policy. Okay, well, what do we need to modify? What do you need? Well, we need to know how the agent sounds, like when they're texting the prospect. Okay, we'll just read that and then we'll train the AI, right? So we'll just change the privacy policy. Somewhere along that chain, what I believe is legal was supposed to have sent that thing to somebody. Communications, industry relations, marketing, somebody. And somebody with industry knowledge should have looked at this thing and go, I know what we're trying to do, but two things. One, we cannot use this phrase, mutual customer. We simply cannot use that phrase, number one. So change it to something, end customer. And I mentioned it, like the old follow-up boss privacy policy very specifically said there's customer, that's you, the agent, and there's the end customer, who's your customer. They didn't use the phrase mutual customer. I'm like, Zillow could just as easily said, there's the customer, you, the agent, and then the end customer. And we're going to take the end customer's info to improve this product for you, right? That's one.
Well, what they were trying to, what they were trying to do is say it's not every client you have. It's only ones that have registered with Zillow, right? Which is like fucking everybody anyway, right? So they're splitting hairs of something that didn't need to be.
There's some questions, but again, I'm just simply put.
Let me go back. Do you think that this is all about just making their emails and texts better?
I don't know. I mean, but
here's what if I'm Zillow, this is what I'm doing, right? Okay. So I have all these Flex agents and I have all these Premier agents that are paying me money. Right, especially let's talk about Flex because they get the most out of that. I'm scanning all the follow bosses CRMs and I'm looking for signals like this is a high intent person, right? And then I'm upping my communications with that, and I'm also and driving them to my Flex partners, right? So this is going to help me increase my activities that I can do to get this buyer, or this seller, whatever side it is, to the next level. I mean, that's what I would be using this for, not tone and whatever, right? Wouldn't. I mean, I want something that's going to move the needle on my revenue.
No, you wouldn't do that, right?
Sure I would.
You wouldn't, because then
if I'm going to be doing this, I mean, why do it for tone and messaging? Let's make some fucking money here.
Because follow-up boss is making you money. I mean, if you did that, you're essentially burning follow-up boss. Right, you're just taking this asset, and I think Zillow paid $500 million. No,
but I mean,
that's
just
throwing it in the trash.
But that's what they've done before. Like
they haven't done that before.
Dotloop gets looped in and becomes free. ShowingTime now is going to be looped in and it becomes free. I mean, this is their This has been their model for a long time now.
All right, well then that would be a whole separate thing. I'm just saying, like, Follow Up Boss makes money. Like, it's not free. If they said we're going to make Follow Up Boss free, we could have this conversation, right?
Well, I'm just looking at the products they already done this to, right? I mean, or they bundle it into some other programs that they have, so it's basically
sure, fine, but they're still making money from the agent. Like any CRM anywhere that does any sort of steering, any sort of client poaching, literally would lose every paying customer, right? At that point. So at that point, if you're Zillow, you have spent $500 million. You have this asset. What?
How do you prove it?
Because it would happen. What do you mean, how do you prove it?
Well, again,
I'm
you
emailing this prospect, and the next thing I know, the prospect went to a premier agent.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fear. I don't know if you could really prove
I know
that.
That's the fear.
That's the fear, though.
I know that's the fear.
I'm not thinking if I'm all these guys that are talking about it.
Right.
They're not worried about these guys using it to make my tone better of my emails and texts. They're thinking, okay, if I was another agent and I had this access to information, what would I do?
Right.
And that's how they're thinking about it.
No, I agree.
That's why they think it's a threat.
100%. And I'm agreeing the agents are paranoid, and they're paranoid maybe for good reason, maybe for bad reasons, but the paranoia exists. My point simply is I don't think Zillow and Follow Up Boss had that type of grand AI strategy in mind. I just don't. Like I said, I think this was not nefarious. I think this was just innocent, like product development. Hey, we're going to create some new nifty whatever that'll make our customers happy, right? Hey, legal, what do we need to do? Oh, we need to change the privacy policy. Okay, they changed the privacy policy. And then somebody who ought to know, right, didn't take a look at it. And then the second part is this. This is the real kind of like, guys, is I don't know whose job this is over at Zillow. I don't know if it's communications. I don't know if it's industry relations. I don't know if it's Jeremy's job, right? Like the CEO's job. Someone at Zillow needed to have sat back and gone, so we had this problem with dotloop, right? We went and we made one promise and then we changed it a few years later. We had this with ShowingTime. There's all kinds of panic about Follow Up Boss. We had this with us becoming a brokerage, right? This is now starting to be a pattern, right? And at a corporate strategy level, someone at Zillow needed to have said, if we're going to do this, and we have all these good reasons why we need to do this, we have to treat this like we treated us becoming a brokerage, right? And gone all out, in advance, proactive. Because the reason why this thing blew up... I just don't
think they thought that because it wasn't...
I agree. They didn't think that.
Data. Yeah.
No, they didn't think that. And my point is that's an error. Someone needed to have said, this is a big, big deal, right? Not because privacy policy changes are a big deal. No. It's boring. Like, nobody reads it. I get it. But the reason why this thing became like, is because Tom fucking Ferry did a video, which then says to me, no one reached out to Tom, right? Nobody reached out to Tom.
Who at Zillow? I mean, that's what I'm saying. They don't have a department that reaches out to coaches.
PR and communications. Like, what else is your job, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're just not set up for this type of...
Okay, well, then that's an error. I don't know what to say. You fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you need to have someone on your PR communications team that reaches out to social media and real estate coaches and influencers, because it didn't break on Inman, right? It wasn't like Inman and Real Estate News said, privacy policy change. But you think about the influence that guys like Ferry and, Bam and, do you know what I mean? Like, and Jared James, like these guys reach tens of thousands of agents.
Yeah.
How you don't talk to those, make sure that like, hey guys, let us explain what's going on here. Here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it, right? Proof makes everybody feel assured, right? That's an error. But like I said, the big picture error is, and this now goes to your second point. There's now a pattern of Zillow making one promise, right, today, and then 2-3 years from now, changing that promise.
This is the story of tech, though, right? I mean,
fine, it's the story of tech.
It is the story of tech is like, come here, all you developers. We got I was listening to a podcast about this just this morning about what they call the end-shitification of sites or something, right? And, it's like back in the day, when Facebook launched, right? It's like, and I think MySpace had just been acquired by another big company, and Facebook said to all the MySpace users, "Oh, come here. We're never going to sell your data. Everything's going to be it's a wonderful paradise," right? And then what happens? They shift strategies, 10 years later, 5 years later, where no, you're just become the biggest, ad target in on the web, right? I mean, this is how everything happens, right? Gmail. Right, Google, you didn't have any ads before, right? I mean, this is what happens. They gobble up these companies, or they create these products, and it's all free. And then at one point, we realize, as the saying goes, if the product's free, you're or even when it's not free, to subsidize it, you're the product, right? I mean,
fine,
yeah,
and
like,
so,
is it? Having said that, and having known we were doing that, is it just Pollyanna for us to kind of like go? This is beyond the pale, right? I mean, no, this is fucking cliche at this point, right? This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Cotality. Successful agents know you can't just focus on the transaction. You need to establish yourself as a real estate advisor for life. And that's what Cotality's new expanded One Home ecosystem is all about, giving agents the tools they need to keep their clients engaged through every step of homeownership. Cotality is continuing to investing in the buyer's journey and agent-client collaboration. Starting with One Home, the industry's widely used agent invite search portal for high-intent home buyers. It boosts some impressive numbers, including ranking #1 in highest repeat visits against the national portals. It also ranks in the top 4 for time spent on a site, which means buyers are not only returning, they're spending time on One Home. And for good reason. In addition to curated listings and property fit scores, it offers leading-edge features like the ability to search by similar look and restyle rooms, allowing buyers to visualize the property as their home, and increasing the time they spent evaluating listing by 2 to 3 times. Bringing it all full circle is One Homeowner, an agent-branded home ownership portal that keeps agents top of mind between transactions. There's a lot of cool innovation happening at Cotality right now. MLSs, reach out to your Cotality rep to find out how you can make these new expanded One Home ecosystem available to your members. And thanks again to Cotality for sponsoring Industry Relations.
I guess if you want to be trusted the way that Facebook is trusted, then go right ahead and do this.
Well, that's not a good level of trust.
But that's where I'm getting at, right? Like, I do think that there's now a strategic problem for Zillow, is all I'm getting at, right? Like, the first time, it's like, okay, whatever, right? It could happen. All right. Second time, all right, and I loved your wife analogy, right? Say you promised your wife something, and then you go, hey, I know I promised this, but I need to modify that, right? You do it one time.
Restate it.
Restate it. Yeah. I promised I'm going to take you to Cancun for your birthday. Birthday's getting close. Hey,
how about Pismo Beach?
No, like I've got this very important business trip coming up. I'm really sorry, but can we defer it, or I'll take you to Pismo Beach instead? The first time your wife's gonna be like, all right, no big deal, right? It's not that big a thing.
Excuse me.
The second,
these companies, they create these products, and it's all free, and then at one point we realize, as the saying goes, if the product's free, you're or even when it's not free, to subsidize it, you're the product, right? I mean,
fine,
yeah,
And
like,
so,
is it? Having said that, and having known we were doing that, is it just Pollyanna for us to kind of like go, this is beyond the pale, right? I mean, no, this is fucking cliche at this point, right?
I guess if you want to be trusted the way that Facebook is trusted, then go right ahead and do this.
Well, that's not a good level of trust.
But that's where I'm getting at, right? Like, I do think that there's now a strategic problem for Zillow, is all I'm getting at, right? Like, the first time, it's like, okay, whatever, right? It could happen. All right. Second time, all right, and I loved your wife analogy, right? Say you promised your wife something, and then you go, hey, I know I promised this, but I need to modify that, right? You do it one time.
Restate it.
Restate it. I promised I'm going to take you to Cancun for your birthday. birthday's getting close. Hey,
how about Pismo Beach?
No, like I've got this very important business trip coming up. I'm really sorry, but can we defer it, or I'll take you to Pismo Beach instead. The first time your wife's gonna be like, all right, no big deal, right? It's not that big a thing.
Excuse me.
The second time you do that, she's gonna be like, that kind of sucks, but I get it. All right, you have an important meeting. All right. The third time you do it, what's the reaction gonna be?
Yeah, it's over with. Yeah.
And then the fourth time you know what?
The first time I do it, it was over with my wife. Okay, so let's be honest.
That's not good. I'm just saying, like, look, just think about human nature, right? This is not the fourth time that Zillow has done something like this. And I'm just saying someone over there needed to have been like, listen, privacy policy change is really not a big deal. We get it. But this whole, like, we promised this, and now we're altering it, that's a big deal. We need to address it, and address it aggressively, address it proactively.
Well, it's going to be, if the next product they buy, they're not going to believe.
No one's going to. So, like, what I wrote was...
So, okay, what's the solution here? What should they do?
At this point, I don't know, man. But this is the issue. The issue is kind of exactly what you just reflected, right? Which is, it is now far too easy for anybody, even like friends of Zillow, even people who really like and support Zillow. At this point, it's really easy to just add the word "yet" to everything Zillow says. That's a real problem, man. That's a real fucking problem. Because especially with AI, one of the things that agents and brokers and everyone in the country is sort of worried about is AI going to take my job?
Right.
Is AI going to replace me? Right? And Zillow will swear up and down. And what I wrote was, in 2025, it's ridiculous to think that AI is going to replace the real estate agent. Okay, you and I have had conversations about it. I think there's something special about the human relationship, blah, 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 blah. I get it. In 2025, that sounds ridiculous. But I'll tell you what, man. In 2010, it was ridiculous to think that podcasts were going to replace broadcast TV.
Yeah.
Or that YouTube was going to replace NBC and CNN.
Yeah.
So the issue now is, Zillow's going to, of course, they're going to come out and say, look, we're creating all this AI tools to help the agent, help our premier agents, help brokers and agents, right? Our partners. But now if everybody starts adding the word "yet" to the end of every sentence, that's a real fucking problem for Zillow.
So do they
don't know what they do.
Did they reverse this?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's what it is. I don't know. Like, maybe it's something.
Maybe
like,
they stop saying it, right? It's like, yeah, I mean, we're a big company, and we're going to take this stuff and we're going to make our products better and make our customer experience better. We've got to show you that we're going to do this responsibly. And if we don't, you're going to leave. We know that.
Right. Or something. Right? I don't know what they do. I mean, and look, maybe there is a part of them who just feels like, kind of like you said, Zillow's the big daddy, right? Maybe there's a part of Zillow that feels like, well, what you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, as long as we have the 300 million page view, we know you're leaving, right? So what you going to do?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I suppose from Zillow's perspective, maybe they don't have to do anything, right? Maybe they say, look, this is just life. This is just what happens. Just fucking suck it up and deal with it. Stop whining. Maybe that's what they do. That's fine. Like you said, Facebook is never going to be concerned about what you and I think. Like, you don't like it, don't use it. Like, what you going to do? Like, we're Facebook. Yeah. That's one way, I suppose. But I don't think Facebook is as reliant, if you will, on sort of the goodwill and trust of the industry to the extent that Zillow is. And kind of what you're bringing out makes sense. Like, yeah, if you're an MLS executive, maybe you care, maybe you don't, right? And privacy policy change, like, maybe this doesn't impact you in any way, shape, or form. The strategic problem is if MLS CEOs going forward just say, Zillow came in, they want to do this deal, here's kind of what they're proposing, right? Here's kind of the blah, 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 blah. And they go, so those are the terms today. We don't know what the terms are going to be tomorrow. Yeah. Like, Zillow's promises come with an expiration date. If people start thinking like that, that's potentially a real fucking problem for them. Even for the mighty Zillow is all I'm getting at. So what do they do about that? I don't know. Maybe do a media tour now, right? Maybe get Jeremy and Errol and the product team and whoever, right? Maybe get all of them to just come out and be like, here's what it is. Here's how we're thinking. Here's what's going on. I don't know what they do. Because in a way, man, it's a little bit like, what would you do if your wife was like, I don't trust you anymore?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what's one of the worst things about a marriage, about any, like...
any relationship, your
any relationship,
or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Once you lose trust, man, like, how do you get that back?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And that's why I'm saying, like, the issue is so minor. It's so insignificant. Agents are paranoid. Follow-up boss is not going to steal your clients. None of that is happening.
Yet.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah. And I don't know how anyone...
And, like, what do you do? I mean, there's the newest shiny thing comes up, cloud CRM, right? Or some shit, right? And you start, these guys are great. I love Greg. He's got his new CRM. It's great. These guys are awesome. And I put all my contacts in there like, oh, hey, we sold to homes.com.
Right.
It's like everybody's just going to go back to, well, you can't even put it in Google Sheets.
Right.
At least they're not affiliated to real estate, right?
Right.
So, maybe everybody has to just choose a CRM system. Well, then you're not even safe there. CRM systems can have like they sell their list to, hey, we've got about 2,000 users that identify as real estate agents. Mm-hmm. Who would like that information that we can sell to, right? I mean, it's
right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in a way we're all gonna either you have to kind of get over it in a sense, or it's like maybe it's just we bring back the freaking philo faxes or something, right. And everybody keeps it on freaking Rolodex cards.
Right. So I want to distinguish between two separate tracks here. One is just around the problem of like privacy in general and like data protection in general, right? Like that's a society-wide problem, right? And it's certain, let's put it this way. Whatever client info that some agent has a follow-up boss is not even at the top 200 of sort of the privacy concerns that are out there in our society today.
Right.
Right. Like, let's just be honest about it. From that standpoint, the whole issue around, well, how do we keep certain information private? How do we keep data about our personal health, for example, private? How do we do that? That's regulation. That's, fucking legislation. That's a big, big societal problem. Or do we have to just say we're going to deal with it and just suck it up? I don't think we're going to do that, right? Because I don't want Bezos having my medical information. I don't want, Facebook having some detailed financials. Like, I don't. Some information, some data is absolutely private and it's nobody's business. And I don't think we as a society, as human beings, are going to just deal with it. I just don't.
Yeah.
Right? But that's
complicated
over here. Within the industry, like I said, to me, and maybe this is a lesson for everybody, for all CRM companies, for institutions, for NAR, for brokerages, everybody. Like, you really have to be thinking carefully about the proactive communication, right? Proactively. Because if people start attaching the word yet, dude, it's hard to, I don't know how you come back from that.
I mean, to me, it's automatic to everything nowadays. Like I said, it's just become so cliche. I don't think anybody's not getting a yet at the end of that statement anymore. I mean, it's just something we're going to have to, live with, or, how, to outcompete. I know all these people are going to do it, so I have to do a good enough job to
maybe.
Because I'm going to have different competitors out there that I've got to make sure that I'm the one they want to go to. I've got to out-hustle all these people that I know might have the same kind of information, right? I mean, it goes back to some of those apps that used to say it was the seller score, mm-hmm. right? Like, I always picture this elderly lady whose husband died, and then her inbox would be full of postcards from realtors who have some app that tells you when somebody dies in the house, right?
Right.
And how are you gonna differentiate yourself to get that business if there's any business there, right? So we're already there in a sense. It's just something I think we're gonna have to fucking deal with in this kind of new age, right?
Sure, sure. Like I said, that's a data.
It's got complaining about the sky being blue.
But that's a data privacy thing over here that I think is a wider societal problem that we just have to figure out. Within the industry, though, and I do think this much, because agents, at the end of the day, man, all of this stuff stems from that. Like, what's our basic unit of production? It's the real estate agent, right? Who then join up and become a brokerage, and then brokerage join up association MLS, and then, so it's the agent. All right. The one unique thing about the industry is the fact that trust is like the coin of the realm.
Right.
Because agents all understand that.
Advisor, yeah.
Right. Like, they know, because all of the surveys, all the studies ever show the reason why a consumer picks one agent over another is like, I feel I could trust her. I feel I could trust him. Right. And, I'm reminded of the, I think it was Warren Buffett, or it might have been Charlie Munger, who talked about they want to go back to doing one-page agreements.
Right, yeah.
They want to be able to do business deals on one page because they're like, if I can't do a deal with you on a one-page contract, maybe I shouldn't do a deal with you at all. Right, that kind of thing. Now,
what attorney's going to let a one-page? It's not possible in this day and age.
Is it? But my point is, I think those guys are fucking. I don't even know if they're boomers. They're really old.
Yeah.
Right. Really, really old. So maybe they're hearkening back to some old world, But
or a handshake is my bond.
Right. Yeah. Right. But there is something to that in real estate, right? In this industry, because the base unit, the agent, is all about being trustworthy. It's all about my word is bond. It's all about that. Sure, I'm going to put this 17-page, listing agreement in front of you, but, I know I'm getting hired because somehow that client trusts me, and I can't betray that trust. I have to somehow live up to that. So maybe they expect that from others as well, in a way that's maybe more than the average sort of consumer, right?
Right.
And look, I got nothing against Zillow here. I don't think they did anything wrong, right? I just don't. It's just that they made errors in communication and failing to recognize the importance of not having the fourth time that you make a promise and then revise it. Like, I think that needs to be something that people over there need to pay much greater attention to. I don't know what they do about this. Maybe one of the things they need to do is consult Errol Samuelson on every fucking decision before you make it.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd love that.
Right? Because somebody over there needs to bring this perspective over to the product team, the legal team, everything. Is look, guys, we need to be thinking about how the industry is going to perceive this. Even though we don't mean to do anything evil by this. None of this is nefarious. But we have to pay a lot more attention to that, because now, I'm sorry to say, you're right. I think the industry perception of Zillow now maybe is, well, yeah, for now. Yes, Zillow is going to do this today, but things change. That's a real problem.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. Like I said, that's the way things are now.
You think
every site has got some.
You think every company has that reputation?
No, I think there's Apple's famously really, they really kind of are, they're a part of their pitch is their privacy kind of thing, right? But
sure.
But if I go into if I go into Google or Facebook or Twitter and all that stuff, I assume it's just because they give me an algorithm of things that they think I want to see.
Sure.
That my whole life is up, and all my interests are up for sale. Fine. Right.
Greg, I'm talking about in our industry, in
right.
real estate. Do you think generally think of the companies that are at Lone Wolf, Cotality? Do you think those guys have the same reputation of I know here's the terms of use and here's the promises today, but we all know they're going to change it in 3 years. I don't think any other company has this reputation.
Yeah, I think, Zillow is just Zillow's a different animal. The Zeta rate and all this stuff that they've got.
Sure.
And maybe it is because they've backtracked on or backpedaled on we're not going to be a broker or some other things. And this is not helping for sure, right? But I just don't. This is an overall thing in tech that I just see a lot of, and at least the bigger sites, right? The bigger companies, that it's just something I think everybody's going to have to deal with. Zillow's got a bit more interest. It's a bit more tough for them because they do have this contingency in this industry of like already being, everybody's after their shit, right?
Okay. Like I said, just I don't know. I might be wrong. It's maybe my perception's off. I don't feel like bigger companies like Realtor.com, I don't think they have this reputation. I don't think Homes.com has a reputation, right? I don't think CoreLogic, Cotality, I don't think Black Knight, Lone Wolf, none of these guys have the reputation of, like, here's kind of the promises today, but there's an expiration date. I don't think any of them have that, right? So it's just, to me, it's an object lesson maybe for everyone else. Like, Zillow's fine, they're huge, they're, whatever. Like, it's not going to impact them that much. But maybe it's an object lesson for others to look at and go, hey, if we're going to change something that we promise, we need to do like a shit ton of proactive explaining, right? So that everyone's like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah. And the fact that it happened out of a privacy policy. Now, look, I'm going to level the exact same charge to CRMLS on that, right? So if you're going to change that important term, you need to do a shit ton more proactive explanation.
No, yeah, so we talked about that too, yeah.
We already argued about that, so this fits in with that anyway.
Well, we don't want to beat too much of a dead horse here. No, it is kind of whatever, but...
No. But we'd love to hear what people have to think about it. I mean...
Yeah.
Is this... I guess, especially for our listeners, like MLS Execs Association people, brokers, agents, like, do you find that there are certain companies that you trust more than others? And if so, why? Right? If so, why? Right.
Yep.
So, all right. In any event, great chatting. Thanks for listening to us. Subscribe, notify, all that shit. Yeah, all that stuff. So, all right. Take it easy, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.